I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sandy, roll. Oh, sorry, Jeremy. Sandy, roll call.
Councilmember Stacy Green.
Present.
Councilmember Kim Green.
Here.
Councilmember Bob Hall.
Here.
Councilmember Ken Palfini.
Here.
Mayor Susan Tabulero.
Here. Thank you. Now is the time for any public comment on anything that is not on the agenda. Is anybody here for something like that? No? Okay. Thank you. Item number 4, council member announcements, meeting reports, and comments. Ken, you want to go first?
Sure. Not a lot in official capacity. Our farmers market is starting to pick up a lot. At least we're having fruits and vegetables, which is kind of nice for us. We had about 72 people, if my count was right, for the last one. We did cancel last Saturday because of air quality. I think we will probably be moving forward this week. I'm hoping with or without air quality, I guess. I think we just need to have it. I also want to say that the Community Resource Center in Weed just finished up their kids camp with a lot of contributing people putting out. They did a special kind of program called Cradles to Careers. It was, I think, half sponsored by COS, and that was pretty well received. They asked a lot of strange questions from what I heard. I was not present, but so we're good that I think we served 20 to 25 families for that, for a kids camp for 6 weeks long. Good idea, good project. That's it.
That Cradles to Careers, I sat on that. And it's actually partly funded by McConnell.
Is it?
Uh-huh. And there's one, they all have different names, but there's one in every county. And all 5 counties has one. And it's basically education jobs for, well, education from 0 to 18 and job training from 18 over. It's a great program. You want to go, Kim?
Sure. Okay, so since Ken mentioned the air quality, the Bel Air pool has been closed almost all this week because of bad air quality. And I'm really sorry, but when people aren't there, we get the calls. Okay, so I am working with the Chamber of Commerce on our non-Carnivale fill-in event, which is going to be August 27th through the 29th. I left a couple of agendas, itineraries, and applications back there. On Friday night, the Sons of Italy is going to be doing a takeout dinner. It's a drive-through dinner over at the Sons Hall. And then Saturday is a car show in the park, and there's applications back there if anybody would like to submit a car into the show. We will be having the farmers market going on. The weed swim team will be doing a breakfast at the park from 8 till 11. We will have food vendors throughout the day.
That's Saturday?
That's Saturday the 28th. And the bocce tournament and the horseshoe tournament will be happening on Saturday. And then on Sunday, hopefully the bocce's still going and horseshoes will be going. But this will be our first ever, our Weeds inaugural, it says, Cornhole Tournament. And these are actually done by a group out of Reading, and it's a sanctioned tournament. The entry is $50 a team, and first prize is $500. So if you want to play bocce, horseshoes, or cornhole, go to the Chamber of Commerce and sign up. If not, come and watch us.
And look at the cars.
Yeah.
And when the swim team's finishing selling breakfast,
yes.
the fire department will be selling burgers. A limited amount. So when we run out, we run out.
I was under the impression there were some other food vendors.
There will
possibly?
be,
Okay.
yes, I just don't know who they are right now. Yeah.
Okay, Stacy?
I don't have anything this time.
Okay, Bob?
I don't have much either, other than I mentioned earlier. Heritage Park, we're talking about making sure we have some shade so Heritage Park is more usable. And we also were discussing the garbage pickups on Main Street and in front of the business, which I think we're going to be able to make a move with. And I don't think I really want to get into anything else tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I'll let you go.
I have two different committees that I went to. I'm on the County Transportation Committee, and I will publicly apologize for the fact that we seemed so surprised at the freeway there by Truck Village, in between Southweed and Truck Village, all of a sudden getting into one lane and stopping and backing up into town. And I did get, somebody else that's on the committee from Dunsmuir said that he had Caltrans come and speak to their city council. So that might be something we might want to think about doing in February or March, so they can warn us of what could be happening. And the warning is for next, were you on the meeting yesterday? Next year, there will be construction from Dunsmuir up the grade going north through Mount Shasta. They're putting in new surface. And if your thought is, I thought they already did that, that's what I thought, so I'm not real positive about that one. Anyway, and the stage bus is still free. And then the other committee that I sit on is the RAC committee, which is the Siskiyou County Resource Advisory Committee. And it's through the Klamath National Forest, Shasta T, Modoc National Forest. And they have grants out there. They're pretty specific in what they can do. It's a lot of stream revitalization, removal of trees and that kind of thing. And so I know that our Parks and Rec department should be getting information on that. Mount Shasta's Parks and Rec, Dunsmuir, and our fire department. But those grants are ready to be looked at. They're ready to apply for. And,
I left out that.
oh, and Kim forgot to talk about the motorcycles.
It's
It's a car and motorcycle
so.
show on August 28th. Okay, and that's it for me.
Sue, I have a question. for you.
Yes.
I didn't catch it, but I was told that Representative LaMalfa had made a statement saying that the feds were no longer going to just watch fires, they were going to try to put fires out. Did you hear that? Did you catch that conversation? And why I ask, because I know we put some pressure, not pressure, but asked some questions. It had to be, when we had our fire up here, it was ridiculous what was going on, you know, that people actually walked off and we ended up with a multi-million-dollar fire there. But did you hear anything? You're the fire.
I saw him say that, but from what I've been told from my old firefighter that I know, is a lot of the old firefighters knew how to go in and attack a fire, and we've kind of lost a generation that knows how to do that. So we're hoping that a new generation can come in and know how to attack a fire. So hopefully, yes, that's what they're going to do. Steve? Yeah.
Sorry. I've seen on the news myself is that a lot of the hotshot crews are quitting. They've quit because of their pay, because they're only making like $15, $16 an hour when they can go flip hamburgers for that. So they're negotiating their contract with their own employer to make more money before they'll come back. So They lost a lot of hotshot crews right now during the fire.
That's what you're talking
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. And I got an email from somebody, and it's, but how sad it is that the firefighters get paid that, and what can we do about it? It's beyond us. It's back in Washington DC.
Yeah.
It's a federal thing.
CAL FIRE's making.
CAL FIRE pays their firefighters. And, some of their firefighters, if you calculate it out by the hour, might only be getting $17, $18 an hour, but then they get overtime, so you have to put the whole thing in together. Yeah, they don't get hazard pay, but.
Is there a disconnect still between the Forest Service areas that are covered and the cities and the boundaries?
Well-
Because that was before, and I asked some of our personnel about that. Is that something that is addressed by this subject?
There's not really a disconnect. CAL FIRE and the city work together, and the federal, there's federal lands and there's private lands.
Yeah, that was my question, but that's fine.
And they try to work together.
It was the Forest Service, which I was speaking of.
Right.
And their boundary lines, and that prohibits some of the CAL FIRE or city fire departments from moving. And that was a question during this whole start of the fires time. I asked, was that something that was just,
Of our fire.
yes. And
Well-
others that in the same area that have federal places around.
And it's the same thing as what's going on with the fire up in, well, I don't know where it started near Quincy, and it's now near Susanville, is that, it's going through private areas, and so you have CAL FIRE covering, and it's in federal land, so you have the federal firefighters, so they're working together.
Well, it seems that, I'm not trying to analyze this, but I'm saying when you see the Dixie Fire, see how it's increasing and it crosses those boundary lines, there's a problem there.
Every day, crosses it every day.
I just want to cross our lines to come 2 streets from where I live, which the both fires did, that was very scary.
That's
Right.
where
Something like that.
I suspected that the conversation was going, was how to link those services with a shared objective.
Right.
Forest Service was managing fires, CAL FIRE was putting out fires, and our cities are in between all of those things.
Well, our city tries to put out fires.
Yes, I know, but I mean, they're smaller in comparison to the other organizations. So I think that was the gist of the conversation that you were hearing.
Thanks for the conversation. I think it's important. A lot of people ask what the heck was going on, I mean,
Valid question.
yeah.
I know, and I was at the brewery today after Rotary, and somebody said to me, why do we have to do this every summer? I don't know, I asked the same thing. Why do we have to do this every summer? It gets hot. Yeah. Okay, so moving on to a presentation from Weed Friends of the Library Status Report. Who's the spokesperson, Mr. Christ? Hi, Bobby.
I'm Bobby Eastwood. I live here in Weed, and I'm the president at the moment of the Friends of the Library. As you all know, the Friends received substantial donations after the Bowles fire. That amount's being held by us to be used toward the city's purchase of a new home for the library, or such time as the city take legal ownership of the building that the library now occupies. We took those funds and purchased a 3-year CD that matures in the fall. And the interest has been spent primarily on the directors' and officers' insurance, but we did make some contributions to the library. In the past, we collected the funds from fines and prints to offset printing costs and purchase computers. And then the city began collecting that money for the same ends. Our major fundraising then was the sale of used books, and now the library's decided to have its own book sale. So now we're discussing alternatives for fundraising. And we've been in the same holding pattern as the library for the last 1.5 years. Under normal circumstances, we hold 4 artist receptions a year, have an ongoing tutoring program, provide volunteers to augment library staff, and conduct our own ongoing book sale. None of that's been possible. But we did last year pay for the last half of the Saturday hours, purchased some shelving requested by the librarian, paid for some badly needed outside cleanup, and donated some petty cash. As does everyone else, we anticipate the opening of the library to the public. We did hold a work day a couple of weeks ago towards that end. Library is a huge asset to this community, and we look forward to being partners in a successful library operation again. And now, Mr. Christ will follow me with some information of his own.
Well, I'm Todd Christ, and I've been treasurer of Friends of the Library ever since Martha DeRoss retired from it. So that's quite a long time. But I prepared a list for you, and I'd like to pass it to you. This is a list of, whoops, I'll get to the microphone. This is the list of the activities or items that we've done over the course since the Bowles fire. And I won't read it to you because you'll have a copy of it. But if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. And we have a concern because in the past, before the fires and the virus, we were open for 30 hours a week with 18 hours of paid time by the city. And we currently are open 5 hours a week for the drive-through, and they have 27 hours of paid librarian time now. So when Sue was here, I think I'm Shelley, yes, pardon me, I'm getting old. But when Shelley was here as a person that had retired but came back to work for Saturdays to keep the library open on Saturdays, we picked up the cost of her salary then also. Do you have any questions on the list?
I do.
Okay.
You gave us this list. There's not really many dates on that list, so, in fact, there's no dates on the list. So when we talk about from the Bowles fire, we're talking about a 7-year time frame, of which I am glad to hear that you're contributing, but I'm not sure. I would like to see requests that we find a way that you can maybe partner with the city of Weed. Originally, when the library's hours were cut, and I'm not sure what year that was, but I'm thinking somewhere around 2012 or 13, the city of Weed decided to help fund the library in a partnership with the Friends. And we work as partners. And that partnership was kind of a 50-50 deal. In fact, I think the Friends probably did about a 60% deal on the thing. That proceeded to go from 50-50 to 60-40 or 40-60, 20-80. And right now, I'm not seeing hardly any contributions by the Friends, even though you have been allotted funds from recovery of the Bowles fire. So I find that a little bit, it makes me uncomfortable that the Friends of the Library are not assisting the current staffing of the library. What is your organization proposing financially to give to the library in the next year to 2 years?
I'm not in a position we haven't planned that far in the future. We're currently just covering requests that are made, and we've offered to provide funds anytime that we have requests from the library for additional equipment or time, but we have had no requests. We have been providing a petty cash fund when that's been requested to pick up additional materials that are not part of the current support.
But you don't have a set dollar amount that you guys are willing to contribute on an annual basis to the library? Or is it just, to me, I mean, the Friends of the Library we were used to receiving, or the library was used to receiving a certain amount of money from the Friends. It doesn't seem as if that money is flowing, and if it is, we don't have any records of that. We do have a member of our council that's supposed to sit on your board to help with those discussions. I don't know if anybody remembers that or not, but the partner in your crime is sitting right here.
Oh, excellent.
She hasn't been invited to any kind of board meeting that you guys have held. So it just kind of feels as if you've dropped your responsibility, in my opinion, to assisting with the library functions. So I would like to see something specific besides waiting for the purchase of a building. The funds that were given to you that you have in the CD seem to have been to help reopen the library after the fire.
Which was done.
And it is done, but you still have funds, so those funds need to be earmarked. I just think on the purchase of a building, we've had that discussion for 7 years now, I think, is in some form. 8?
8 years?
They have better math than I do. I just believe that we need to open up some communication between the Friends of the Library and the City of Weed. The City of Weed is now bearing full weight of the library, and we do have a sales tax that helps with that. But that doesn't say that, for me, it doesn't say, I should say, that the Friends of the Library should just drop off. It doesn't seem as if, it appears to me that, and this is just my personal opinion, I guess, but you're not doing much to help. Originally, you guys did quite a bit, and I know as the organization ages, I'll give you an out that it gets a little bit harder to fundraise, but it's also an obligation to get new members into the Friends of the Library so that you can kind of carry on that tradition. So, I don't know. I got other questions from, I don't know if I made any sense there for you, but.
Mr. Palfini, Councilman Palfini, I believe there was some statements made earlier about how much has been donated in the last year. Since I've been here, I think I think they got some money for some cleaning supplies, and like she said earlier, I think it's a total of $360 since I've been here. So in 18 months. So, I mean, that's where I think our concern is. Like you just said a few moments ago, we are bearing the full brunt of running the library, paying for everything, and we're just trying to figure out, where the Friends fit in on this. And I believe there was a statement earlier about the original donation was $125,000.
$125,000.
And do you have a balance of what you have currently right now?
Well, I don't have it with me today, but I can certainly get it for you.
Okay.
I think one of my big questions is what do you propose to financially do for the library? If it's just to sit on those funds, I don't see that as being any assistance. I don't think the city needs particular help, but the library does. And maybe the city does too at this time, because we're always short of funds as well, but in particular to the library, that money was designed to assist and not put it in some savings account. And not that you can't, but there should be some expenditures there.
And we have responded to expenditure requests and have funded things, but we ask that when we have an expense, we receive receipts for things that have been purchased so we can document it. And we also are wondering, when is the library going to open full-time? And I personally have gone down to Dunsmuir and got used books from them because there was none available and we couldn't get in, and the Eagle's Nest and the Manchester City Library, and I'd love to do it in our library. But I don't know when it's going to open. And we have not said we will not participate with the city, but we haven't had any activity on that, so we don't know.
According to what I'm seeing, your contributions from the Friends of the Library, and I could be wrong, and you can show me the books where I would be wrong, but in the last over 2 years, you've contributed $860.
And
That's
how
what
long-
I see.
How long has the library been closed over the last 2 years?
That's fine, but things always, expenses continue, whether the building is open or closed, or any kind of facility is open or closed. They had ongoing drive-in library systems going on, so they've had a librarian there, if I'm not mistaken. They've had, their computers are always utilized, and whether you use that computer today or not, those systems all become outdated, no matter whether you use them or not. So you constantly have to update computers, computer systems, software, everything that goes with that. I'm just saying that the contribution from the Friends has been minimal, where we have funded all the rest of the expenses, including payroll, and all of those things. So again, I would still like the Friends, or at least I would like the council to address the fact that we need some sort of plan on what the Friends of the Library's function is, what they're going to do financially for the Weed Library. I think that would help us with any kind of decisions that we need to make, because since we're doing all of the funding, we'll have to revisit whether, to me, how much that service is worth to us. That's my gut feeling. I don't know about the rest, but.
Well, we're certainly willing to cooperate with you, and we're certainly willing to talk to you on that, but there has been no talking. So-
I agree. So if you guys will agree to meet with us, I guess we could hammer out some sort of agreement. The last time I met with you guys was back in about 2019. I think the gentleman from Wairika was there. I can't remember the head librarian's name, so forgive me, but.
I would propose also, I believe there was an MOU at one point that was between the Friends and the city.
Yes.
I would propose that we take a look at that. I believe it's expired now.
Yes.
And look at that. Then that way, mayor and council, we don't have to, concern ourselves as far as how much and what, because the MOU will direct those amounts in there. So I'd like to see that be brought back.
May I ask a question? Go ahead. if you have
Yes,
enough.
okay.
I've asked a question. I'm just reading this is staff's report, and I was one of the persons that were appointed to help you a long time, about 8 years ago. And I just want to understand your question here. I think, I see it as a question, but on your history of paid hours per week, the memo, you mentioned that in the recent past, the library was open, et cetera, et cetera. Did you put it as a point? I'm hearing it as a point that you need help in that area. Is that why you put it on the staff's report?
No.
With it being open?
This is what we have done.
Okay. So is there a question or looking for assistance there? Because I see different things. Are you, let me see how I say this. Is the librarian and the Friends on the Library on the same page? They weren't before. Has that changed? The Friends of the Library and the library staff, are they on the same page?
I can't really answer that, where they're invited to attend our meetings.
Well, yeah,
Are they attending your meetings
They have.
on a constant basis so that you guys
No.
are, okay.
How often do you meet?
Yeah, I was gonna ask that.
Quarterly.
Okay.
Okay, so,
meeting
so if somebody would let me know when the next meeting is, and then I can get it on my calendar, and then maybe I can start regularly attending.
Well, Tim, can we ask in between, whenever their next meeting is, so I can say soon, but I mean soon within the next 2 to 3 weeks, that possibly you, the librarian, their representative, and our representative, Kim, you, the librarian, and one of them meet?
Sure, we can do that.
And, I mean, it doesn't have to be at one of their meetings, but
Yeah.
meet and have a discussion?
Sure.
So I'm confused now, this 18 hours and 27 hours, who pays for that? Who pays the librarian?
We do.
We do,
The
okay,
city
that's what I
does.
thought.
That's why I asked, is there a question there? Because you're sharing the difference of 30 hours per week at 80 hours of pay and 6 hours per week with 27 hours of pay time. I want to understand if that's a question unspoken, or what are you saying by that statement? I still have that question.
Well, we had many volunteers that worked at the library when it was 30 hours of service with 18 hours of pay. And in the recent times, we have not had volunteers in
Because of
large
COVID.
numbers.
Because of COVID. 'Cause
Yes.
it's not. So I guess I'm a little confused at you, because you just asked, when is it gonna be open? Good question. Who gets to decide that?
Well, I mean, as far as the librarian and myself have had multiple conversations in regards to this, and one of the issues is kind of putting the cart before the horse, because, I mean, if we're going to open for more hours and we're not having the funding for all the staff, that makes it tough. We have Katie O'Neill's here too, the librarian, and she can address some of those issues as far as opening and getting back open too, so. But I would like, I mean.
So that's part that can come up when in
we have
this
the meeting,
discussion
yes.
with the.
I'd love to have that
4 or
discussion.
5 or 6, however many.
Yes.
if
I
you wanna be
realize
there.
there's people working there
Mm-hmm.
already, but it's not open to the public yet, correct?
Well, it's been, what people are doing now is they're ordering their books ahead of time. And
Right.
come, if you go through there Mondays and Wednesdays, I mean, the drive-through is a pretty constant flow. I mean, people are utilizing the library. It's being utilized,
Just not walk-in.
just
You
not the
can't
walk-in.
walk-in.
Yeah,
Okay.
people are still
All right.
dropping off books. I'm a customer. I drop off 3 or 4 books every week or 2 for grandma and pick her up 3 or 4 more.
I
and
was
so-
doing the same.
Yeah.
I would just like, if you guys do have that meeting, is to, let's look at the financial records of the Friends. I would like to look at their, any kind of operating structure that they have, and their officers and the board.
Well, and Emily should have our numbers also. Well,
Yes,
of what we've
without a
contributed
doubt.
would be good to
Miss
have.
Miss Mayor?
So that they can show those numbers.
I agree, you're in the meeting, but I'd like to see some numbers, just straight up numbers, yeah, you're talking about the
Yeah, from
financial thing.
everybody.
You know, so we know, I mean, what we have, you know, what.
Sure.
Because we work together
Yes.
to create this. And there has been disconnection. And it's not, you know, there's no, I'm not necessarily saying that there's, you know, somebody's dropping the ball, but on a whole, we're not getting it. And we don't, I mean, the list is great, but it doesn't tell me anything. It doesn't tell me dates, it doesn't tell me the amounts, and so I have no idea what it takes to run the library. And I think it's important that we know, and I don't think we're talking something that complex that we shouldn't have the.
Yeah, the numbers are
nitty-gritty.
there.
Yeah.
And
Emily's
besides,
got the
whatever
numbers.
happened in the past is kind of, it's in the past. Where are we going to take this into
Yeah.
the future? So
Right.
that's the
Well,
important.
communicating, and I think with Kim, if you're
Yeah.
going to attend that, I can help if, or as long as we have some connection, because really, this is just one of these he said, she said things after a while. I don't feel that I have anything to hold on to.
Yeah, so let's, we can get a
Sure.
report back next month.
Yeah,
However, you
between
and
now and then,
Kim and the librarian and them will meet between now and then.
we can do that.
And we'll get a report back from next month.
Absolutely.
Marvelous.
Is that okay with you guys?
Thank you.
It's okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Give me the right man for it, too. That'll work out.
You are.
Nice, Mr. Diplomat.
You went there. Okay, moving on to the regular agenda. We need to remove A. Somebody have to,
I make a motion. I make a motion, we remove item A from the agenda.
it has been moved and seconded to remove my item A from the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? B, council will consider introduction and first reading of ordinance number 464-2021, feeding of feral cats.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. At the last council meeting in July, council requested staff come back with an ordinance that prohibits the feeding of feral cats within the city. we've done that here by adding Chapter 9.02 to Title 9 of the Weed Municipal Code. It's relatively straightforward ordinance, making it unlawful for any person within the city to intentionally provide food, water, or other forms of sustenance to either a feral cat or a feral cat colony. The definition of feral cat and feral cat colony are there. So unless you have questions or need further discussion points, it's relatively straightforward.
Questions? Questions?
It's a fairly simple ordinance, and it's in its structure. I wouldn't say simple in its language, but simple in its structure. So I'm thinking we're all pretty okay with this, right?
We have to do something.
Well, I know, and actually, since we've discussed this, I've had 2 other people come to me and tell me they can't grow a garden because of the feral cats. Said,
So
"Oh."
I'm curious though, since, I mean, it was in the paper that we had discussed it, has anybody come to or called the city or discussed in favor of continuing to feed them?
No, the trap
Okay.
neuter release, nobody's come forward and said that's what we
No.
need to do, or not had anybody come.
Not yet.
Have we had anybody come in either way, favor or no favor or whatever?
On that particular thing, no,
No, okay.
no.
I like neuter and release, but it's not the right thing to do.
And it's time consuming.
I would do that on my own, with my own people and animals.
My own cats,
The hillside cats.
which I won't have.
You neuter cats? So you do them on your own, I was kidding.
I spay and neuter everything.
I'd like to make a motion, if I
Not
could, that we introduce the first reading of ordinance number 464-2021 by title only.
Second it?
It's been moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 4642021. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I move to introduce and read ordinance number 464-2021, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Weed adding Chapter 902 to Title 9 of the Weeds Municipal Code regarding feeding of feral cats.
Second it?
It has been moved and seconded to approve ordinance 4642021. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. See it back next month.
Okay.
And none of those people were here today. Maybe they'll come next month.
As a suggestion for our meetings, I've seen councils do a notation in the record that all ordinances or resolutions will be read by title only. If we could do that, then we could, I just did 2 steps and I'm going, I always feel so stupid making 2 steps. Whereas if we could make a notation in our meeting that all resolutions or ordinances will be read by title only.
So.
Could we
to
do
clar-
that? Is that legal?
Sure, so the recommended, well, I'm in the wrong one.
Would we have
The
a
recommended
resolution
motion for this in the staff report is introduce and hold a first reading by title only of an ordinance,
Oh.
adding Chapter 9.02, ... So that is in the recommended motion in the, or recommended, staff recommendation in the staff report, but we can incorporate that into the agenda title.
It's just-
I don't know where we
Process.
got into that habit of doing it twice. I think it was Chuck.
We've always done
Years
since
ago.
I've been here. It's a process.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be
But I don't
ordinance.
think we can amend that process.
No.
So we don't have to just kind
You
of.
should say we should specify that we're introducing it by title only, or doing the first read by title only, but you don't have to do it by 2 separate motions.
Okay.
So,
But you
Can-
still have
You
to
can.
read, do you still have to read it?
not
The
if you say
title?
by title, yeah, I would say by title only. Otherwise, you have to theoretically have to read the whole ordinance out.
Can we practice it for the first time on item C?
Hell
Oh, yeah.
That's-
All right, Ken.
Thank you.
Council will consider introduction and first reading of ordinance number 4652021 regarding administrative citations and public nuisances.
Great. Well, now I'm looking forward to the motion, but until then, this is an ordinance to address Chapter 8.24, which defines public nuisances and procedures for abatement of public nuisances, and Chapter 19.01, which defines the process for issuance of administrative citations and appeals of administrative citations. Basically, what we're doing is overhauling those 2 chapters, repealing them and replacing them Substantively, these are going to look similar in a lot of ways, but there are some procedural changes that are intended to basically streamline the process of declaring public nuisances, abating public nuisances, and more importantly, possibly issuing administrative citations, and then the appeal process for those administrative citations. So just briefly, Chapter 19.01 now says that a code violation is essentially any violation of any provision of the municipal code, including codes that are adopted by reference in the municipal code, like the California Building Code, or conditions that are placed on projects or properties by some approval that they've received from the city. So if they've received, for example, a permit and it has a condition, a violation of that permit will be treated as subject to administrative citations. Per state law, administrative citations generally won't exceed $100 for the first violation, $200 for the second, or $500 for the third and all subsequent. Or for building code and safety code issues, it's $100, $500, and $1,000. And again, those are amounts that are set out by state law. But it basically every single day of a violation exists is a new violation. So if you had a property that was not in compliance with one provision of the California Building Code, for example, the first day would be, for a week, the first day would be $100, the second day $200, and every subsequent day of that week, the next 5 days would be $500. The city can always choose to impose less fines if it desires, or these are mandatory, maximums, not the amount, not a mandatory amount. See if there's anything else to add. Chapter 8.24 again is the nuisance procedures, declaring what we are declaring as a public nuisance and the process for either the city abating it or requiring the property owner to abate the nuisance. The definition of what a public nuisance is mostly the same as what exists in the city's current municipal code. I have added a catch-all, which includes as a public nuisance any other condition which the city manager reasonably determines is contrary to the public peace, health, and safety, or which otherwise prevents the enjoyment of or reasonable use of property. So basically, if we can't quite find a phrase or a part of the nuisance definition that applies to a certain circumstance, we can still determine that there is a nuisance because it's just obvious that it's something negatively affecting the public health, safety, or welfare. With that, I'm happy to go through some of the procedures a little more if you think it's necessary, but otherwise I'm happy to field questions.
I'm good. It fixes our issue.
Yep, it fixes our issue.
Ken, you want to introduce it?
Well, sure.
Okay, in the new way.
In the new way, I would like to introduce the first reading of ordinance number 465-2021 regarding administrative citations and public nuisances.
Second it?
By title only?
By title, did I say by title? By title only.
Almost.
Almost got it straight.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye. You said a question.
Any opposed?
No.
Nope. Because I could say it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Yeah.
Any opposed? Okay, passed. 5-0.
Just for Councilmember Palfini's awareness, the staff report includes a staff recommendation. I don't know if that's what you were reading.
I was just, that would, actually, no, I was just reading right up.
Okay, because the staff recommendation would also serve as the motion that includes by title only language, just to throw it out there. You would have to put in the number of the ordinance.
In other words, you wrote it down the way we're supposed to say it.
Well, I mean, it's
Kind of a cheat sheet.
It's the way you may say it.
You know, we're getting used to Ryan, okay? Ryan gives us a little bit more instruction. Thank you very much.
You can choose your own adventure here.
We like your adventure.
Can we just amend to agree with that?
He said it correctly. It was just, for
I just
for the
added
future.
title
we'll-
only at the end instead at the beginning.
Yeah.
To say it or not to say it?
No, it's okay, yeah, it's
And
okay.
Sandy
It's,
reminds us.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, just for future.
But I'll do
knowledge.
better.
Yeah, we'll live with you.
I promise, I promise.
Okay.
You're gonna have to change our little cheat sheet.
We don't have to now.
You have?
Well,
Oh,
Mayor, I tell you
I think we
something.
made big progress.
We did, we've had a
It was
good night.
progress.
All right, moving on to item number 7, consent agenda.
I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No, so nothing was removed. On number 8, staff reports. Let's see. Steve, would you like to go first?
Sure, I'll go first. All right, so we brought a show and tell before the meeting.
That was cool.
We have a new Type 3 engine, which is a wildland engine. We got it at Cal Fire auction. It's engine 1214. It's already been assigned. The very next day we put it in service, it went to the Antelope Fire. And actually, we saved a house in Tenet with that fire. I should say Brian and the crew. And we've already been reimbursed by the several fires, the McDonald Fire, Lava Fire, and Antelope Fire to pay for the truck already. So it was a good venture. We also brought a 2014 Freightliner ambulance that was donated to us by Berkeley Fire Department. So we got it for free. It only has 60,000 miles on it. Well, I just want everybody to know we're not utilizing that ambulance to respond to a call and transport to the hospital. We're not allowed to do that. We're using that ambulance, we can use that ambulance to respond to an EMS call, an emergency medical service call, and we still have to wait for Mount Shasta ambulance to come and transport. But it will save, huh?
Traffic accident.
No, we have to take our engine on traffic accident because we have the jaws of life. So that will respond to EMS calls like, hurt foot, broken shoulder, whatever. And save wear and tear on our $750,000 engine that we purchased. We can also use that engine once it's all in service and been inspected by SSV, which is who's in charge of us for EMS. We can send it or rent it out to wildland fires and not even staff it, just rent the ambulance. Because Chad, who is a manager or a part owner actually, from Mountain Medics, says that they will rent it from us. They need ambulances. They turned down 34 assignments because they didn't have enough ambulances. Yeah. So he'll rent the ambulance for us, from us.
Nice.
So,
Can I ask a question? What is the reason that it can't be used for general purposes? I think you said it in part, but why can't it be used for the other functions right now?
to transport,
Yes, any other functions?
because SSV, who's in charge of the county for us, Mount Shasta Ambulance has exclusive rights in the South County to transport.
Okay.
So until they remove that from the contract, nobody can come in here and take a patient to the hospital.
Thank you for the answer, because I know people will see the new vehicle as I have, and
Right.
that might know, the question might come up, what functions can they do? So thank you for sharing that.
We're going to provide a little letter to the patients explaining that when we respond.
Is it going to go into the city for information purposes, like on the back of the utility bill or something?
We'll just hand it to them and have it returned to us.
At the call.
Yeah, at the call.
We get one more of those type of engines, we could look at the exclusivity policy, right?
Good, yeah. I mean, it's between the county administrator and SSV. We can say we want to do it all we want, but until they remove that, we can't do anything.
We tried working on it for a while, but I think we weren't ready.
Yeah. So, yeah, they're nice. It was a nice donation. It's a really nice ambulance.
Pretty cool.
Will it be 1240?
It will. Rescue 1240.
So
Yep.
the old Rescue 1240 was the same type of thing. It
Sure.
could go, but it didn't transport people, even though it had, you could have thrown a body in there, but you couldn't do that. So it'll be equipped like that.
It's going to be equipped exactly like an ambulance with the ambulance equipment.
Right, okay. And,
And we can also use it, the last thing we can use it for is rehab, which is we rehab our firefighters on the scene of a fire. So we could turn on the air conditioner, put them in the back, hydrate them, check their blood pressure, make sure they're ready to go back into a fire.
oh, cool.
So
And do you have to have a special license to drive that vehicle?
you do.
Oh, you
Just-
do?
Yes, you have to.
No, with a patient in the back,
Correct.
but not for right now, because you can't put a patient in the back.
Correct, yeah. We
So
don't
anybody
have
can
no
drive.
special license right now.
So we all get to drive it after.
Yes, after.
Not until it's insured.
Oh, go down and take a spin around the neighborhood.
Take it camping.
Okay,
Well, yeah.
so, continuing on, I suspect it'll be 3 or 4 weeks before you even get started on it, getting it in service, because Chad is gonna help us put it in service, and he's on fire right now, so. But we'll get there.
Cool.
We currently have 3 volunteers these are people who don't work for CAL FIRE. Okay? So we have 3 volunteers that are really active, and we have 3 sleepers, and we're getting 2 more this month. So we'll have 5
Those are the young
sleepers.
guys that were out front?
3 of those guys are sleepers, yes. But we're getting 2 additional sleepers, and then we have 3 volunteers. So. And we also have, 2 of them are our temporary part-time guys, which, thank you so much for giving us those guys. Really helps.
Good job.
And we provided lunches, some fire education, including structure and wildland firefighting to the summer camp. What camp was that, Sue? I'm sorry. Oh, it's the,
Yes, sir, that was a wee element.
no, not the one yesterday, the first
Kids
one.
camp.
Summer fun.
Kids camp, yeah. And we had a great time. We showed them the difference between wildland and structure firefighting. Put all the gear on, and then we sprayed them down with the truck with the hose, so it was
They had
a
a
lot
good
of fun.
time.
And then yesterday,
They save you guys for the last.
yeah. And then yesterday, we provided lunch, dinner, hamburgers to elementary camp kids. So, and thank Andrew was there. He cooked, actually. So thank you, Andrew. And Scott Tavallaro. So, yeah, thank you very much for that. And so training, I want to talk about training, what we do for training in the last month, just from the last meeting with all the new guys. So in 1 month, we've done 24 hours of CPR, first aid training, 24 hours of wildland training, 10 hours of structure fire training, 8 hours of driver operator training, and 8 hours of hazmat refresher, along with a lot of online assigned training classes that these guys have been through, these new guys. So we're constantly training them as they come in. It takes a lot of time. So, and that's just to get them up to where they can go on a wildland fire, structure fire, or EMS call. So, and we did, with that, we've had 65 emergency calls in this 1 month. 53 of them are EMS, which we'll use that ambulance for. 8 of them fires and 4 of them traffic collisions, so. That's my report, thank you.
Thank you. Craig?
See if Jeremy knows what he's doing over there.
Jeremy's gonna get mad
Oh,
at you.
he's got me. He's got me on.
You have to talk into
Yeah.
it like this.
I have not a report like that. That was just unfair to the rest of the staff, but whatever.
You didn't get a donation?
No,
You got
I'm spending money
$1 million according to this financial thing.
on Vista Drive.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've seen that. We're getting ready to pour concrete. I thought I was gonna go today, but it'll be going tomorrow, it sounds like, so.
It looks really cool to be able to drive close, because now you can, I went, oh, that's what it looked like in Dunsmere when we were driving by with all those little.
Yeah. Dunsmere had the pretty purple
baskets. So it's,
Yeah.
they still plan on getting us done on schedule, which is, their schedule is a year ahead of ours, so they still think they'll be done by November. They've been great to work with. I'm not getting any complaints from the business owners, or everything's going really smooth out there.
Can I just ask one question? And I just don't know. On the off-ramp going back into Tweed on the south side, wherever that is, what's happening there is being changed?
We're also doing concrete there.
Okay.
So as soon as we get that piece of concrete poured, then that'll be open from that side to go. But we could close that little section and not really affect anybody that had to get through
I
there.
was wondering if something new is gonna go there, a big giant building or something. It's all blocked off. I can't see it.
Eventually,
It's a lot of-
eventually.
Hopefully.
A lot of stuff there, a lot of road.
So
That's,
still October, November, huh?
that's what they're claiming. We'll
Okay.
see.
I believe them.
Me too.
Oh, and
so
thank
far.
you for the streets that have been filled in or something done to them. All the holes have been filled all over the city.
Some patching, yeah, we've done some patching,
Yeah.
been coming up, we're gonna be street striping tomorrow, so don't drive in wet paint. just give it.
PD
I
posted
I drive
that.
on the streets that don't have any
Are you
striping, so
doing
we're okay.
entire city tomorrow, or where are you starting? What-
Yes, entire city, yeah.
Even some, maybe a parking lot?
Like the city parking lot?
Street.
Okay, good.
County will be doing it. Contract with the county.
Well, I see Caltrans did it out on the boulevard
On
today,
97,
yesterday.
97 too.
Was it
Yeah.
this morning? Yeah, people ran through it. All right, so
Including,
you did?
no, they did.
Oh, they
they
did
did
it on their own?
themselves?
Tires went through.
Oh, okay, well, can't fix that.
That would be a big detective to figure that one out. Yellow tires.
Chief Mayberry, would you tell us something?
Let's see, finished the fiscal year, statistically, we had 21,874 total incidents with 9,459 calls for service. That was for 2021. Within the first, what are we at, 43 days of this year, we're already up 76 incidents over last year. So it looks like it's going to be another busy year for us. That's calls for service. That's not incidents, that's actually calls for service. We are seeing a trend up in traffic accidents. Just accident cases alone, which doesn't mean sometimes we do go to accidents, especially in private property, that we don't take accident cases, but we're already up 14 accident cases this year. That has to do a lot with speed, and then also, I believe, also a lot to do with enforcement as my traffic stops are down, probably due to the shortage in staffing as part of that. Speaking of staffing, we're down 3, but we do have somebody in backgrounds for one of the positions, and we're hoping that works out. And he has local ties, so that's good. And he came out of the college, the Siskiyous Academy, so we're hoping it works out. To go back to Craig a little bit, they were busy, I'm sure you guys saw, with the College Avenue. That took up a lot of their time, including an entire night, which they did that for logistic purposes. But we were able to identify the driver that took out that fire hydrant, lives in a city 145 miles south of here, and we are in contact with their insurance company for that, to recoup some of those fees.
Great job.
I will speak to, 6-7 years ago, you guys agreed to allow us to purchase a camera system for the boulevard, or as movable, we currently have it on the boulevard. That camera system was the reason why we were able to identify that driver, so just putting that out
Really?
there.
The one out here at Main at the T?
We were able to use a private camera to get an idea of what car it was, and then from there, we were able to use our camera to determine more identifiable markings on the vehicle, and with the help of CHP, commercial enforcement, we were able to identify the truck and the driver. So it worked out.
Great work.
That is just like TV worthy.
Wasn't like driving over yellow paint, right?
One other thing, going to your comment about Congressman Lamalfa, that's part of the Wildland, the Congressional Wildland Caucus is what he's part of, and that was a call for more urgent, coordinated response from federal and state entities. It's a bipartisan caucus made up of primarily Western state congressmen. So that was back in July. So, okay.
Of course, you would know.
I do have a question, based on what you mentioned about the place in front of Merchant Bank that was fixed. A concerned citizen, a couple of them mentioned to me, like, we didn't have any don't walk this way or walkway signs, so it would prohibit someone from getting hurt. And I thought about that. I don't know, is that something you guys look at when you're fixing something that's a street and a sidewalk is involved, that you block it off so people don't have to come that way, and they might sue us if they want to go through it? There's people out there like that.
Yeah.
I was wondering what the cost was.
The sidewalk was kept open so they could pass on the sidewalk.
So the area of the actual work was actually taped off with caution tape. We used barricades, we used cones. I personally went out there on a couple of occasions. Somebody did just stopped, and I'm assuming it had to be a pedestrian. I don't know why anybody would stop their car, and just threw the barricades everywhere. So, I mean, that's the stuff that we deal with. We do put the stuff up. We just have to monitor that it stays there.
You're in the way.
I think I saw it when someone had removed it and it was unsafe, so I was wondering what the
Sure.
process.
And we try to keep an
procedure
eye on that, but again, it's, as we're in between calls and driving by, we deal with that.
was. You have to have the eyes in the back of your head, I know, and on the side and everywhere. But thank you.
Oh, and to go back to that, Councilmember Hall, I believe that Lamalfa's comment goes all the way back to when he was here and spoke with you, because that was a topic of conversation I remember having with him and you during that time. So it's been all the way back to the Bowles fire that this has been
Yeah.
addressed.
Are we gonna move that other camera that's on Main Street out to the Vista?
So that would be the plan. The problem with Vista is we don't have a steady power source. Those were on a timer, so it would only work when the power was on to the streetlight at night. So that's why it's never been moved out there, but it's
Yeah,
not, it's not any reason, there's no reason for it to be on Main Street right now. We're not monitoring anything. It's just an area where we
Yeah.
have constant power. But once the project's completed and we have the signals that have constant power, we'll be able to do that.
Good.
On that note, question. We had talked about if the Loves came in monitoring with more cameras out there. Have we taken any more, have you done any studies, how we can use it or improving on our camera system?
The system we had actually budgeted, but we never followed through with
Right.
purchasing the pods that can be added on. The problem is I'm guessing, and I haven't talked to the company, we're probably reaching the end of the service life here, where, I mean, it's
It might
about
be.
7 years. We actually don't sit there, people think we sit there and monitor it. We don't, because it actually sucks up a lot of data if we keep that running. We have to go back and look at it. So if we were to actually go through with that at this point, we may be asked by the company to probably upgrade the system completely.
Okay.
It's not something I've discussed with them, because we've never got to that point where we're ready to buy those pods, so.
Okay, thanks.
But you'd have to have enough capacity to hold all the video? Is that what you're talking
The video takes a lot of data. It's just like our body cameras. That storage is where all primary cost is, and it's an amazing amount of data that is used.
I would imagine, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking of the future now. So in Vista area, which is the city limits of Weed, right? We have a lot of, I see the police cars going there all the time. So has activity increased in there as far as whatever increase means? Do we need something that's gonna serve us as protection for visitors or residents of Weed who are going there to shop or visit?
So,
Except
as
Vista.
was discussed when Loves came, it wouldn't be Loves in particular that would cause us to need another officer. It would just be the growth that would require us to need another. Prior, we're hoping the traffic signals help, but I could easily have put an officer there working traffic all day long on Vista Drive, especially with a stop sign. We just don't have the manpower to do that. We're going out there because there is a large number of people there per day. And then in the summertime, we have an uptick of pedestrian transient activity that we're dealing with as well. And we're out there not dealing with, but meeting new people every day. There's a fresh cycle of people every day that you're contacting out there. So that's why they're going out there. We have an obligation to make sure things are working out there the way they're supposed to be, traffic's flowing. We also have an obligation to come back and check on. So we may not necessarily be going to a call, we're just trying to split time, the city layouts,
I'm
unique.
just asking if we're foreseeing anything. And from what I understand, I like the construction. I know the lights could be right by Taco Bell side. Is that the only one light that's gonna be? You said lights. Is there more than one? I thought your proposal was one.
Just one traffic signal there at
Right.
Blackview and Vista. Yes.
Right. And that's gonna function for all those 4 streets, right?
Yes, it'll be a
Okay.
4-way stoplight, yes.
You said lights. I like, oh, there's another one going somewhere?
Well, I use the term lights because I look at it as a 4-way,
Yeah.
and that's how I view it, so I use plural, yeah.
I'm eager to see it because I didn't know it was that deep till when you go on the freeway, you look over there, you see the different levels that are there, and that's interesting to see. I just love that kind of stuff. I used to make dirt piles in my driveway when I did that for a kid, so I like seeing that from a bigger perspective.
There you go.
Big kid dirt piles.
A Stacy perspective.
Sandy, do you have anything you'd like to add to this?
I'm still working on his Chromebook during this whole meeting. No, I wanted to take just a moment that's really kind of long and just thank Ryan. And I'm glad he's on board because it's been amazing getting all of the staff reports, all of the ordinances and everything I need and all of my questions asked in a timely manner. So I really appreciate it. He gets everything to me very quickly. So he's been amazing. So I just wanted to let you all know that this was a very good choice.
I even went, Tim, he's more relaxed too. He's got this guy, he's got his henchman over here.
I know, but she forgot to mention your dog. Ryan, do you have anything to say?
It's not his turn yet.
I have no updates as far as the city goes. I do have to say, my wife checked in at the end of the last meeting to see when I was getting on the road, and she caught right when we started talking about our dog. And so she thinks now that I'm a crazy person who talks about the dog all the time, which is true.
I thought she was gonna say she thought we were great because we would let you talk about your
No,
dog.
she was very impressed, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
You're not crazy, we like it.
Yeah,
I
so,
hope she said, hi.
I haven't,
Joe, you were moving?
I have nothing else to report though.
Okay, your turn. Take us home.
I will take us home real quickly here. On one kind of not so good note, I was on the Sac Valley City Manager Zoom call today for about an hour, and
Did you use that McLeod guy in on it?
say what?
Did you get the McLeod guy in on it?
No,
Okay,
no. So,
all right.
but at the discussion, Charles Anderson has COVID, by the way. So he's out of pocket, the guy I need to talk to.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was going to tell you guys. I mean, a lot of these cities, especially in the Sac area, are starting to see a huge uptick with the Delta variant. And so I tell anybody right now, if you haven't got vaccinated and you're on the fence, now's the time to get it. Because if you get the Delta variant with non-vaccinated, it will kick your tail. So anyway, just to throw that out there as a disclaimer. And I know everybody's got their own choice and they can do what they want, but I'm just encouraging. Will not comply. On a very, very positive note, though, I will tell you, I've been in discussions, and Craig and I have, with the folks at the college. And we'll have an announcement maybe next week on a potential for the dormitory. And it looks like it's probably going to happen. And when that happens, we will see a pretty substantial increase in our capacity at our sewer plant too. So with the tie-in money. So, but that's not final yet, but it's getting very, very close. So I'm ecstatic because 400 students means we'll have a lot more housing available for our working force out here. So, and that's important.
For our community,
Oh, yeah.
come tournament community.
Oh, yeah,
I also
absolutely.
like the fact that the community, that the college will be growing. I've been walking through it this summer. That place is gorgeous.
It's
Why we
beautiful.
don't have summer programming up there is just beyond me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just real tranquil, just a great place to kind of be.
Yeah, whenever you guys were doing the interview process, and I knew I was going to be taking a tour of everything, I was just shocked. I mean, we toured that like in February, and it was still beautiful then whenever we were all doing the interviews. I was very, very impressed. I mean, if I was a freshman looking for a cool little college to go to, that would definitely be on my list. So maybe I'm getting a little bit biased now, so.
No, I also nobody mentioned, we do have a new little place downtown, Kamsi's little
Oh,
store.
Yeah.
The spot.
The spot.
This spot.
Yep.
I
Spot is
ate
open.
there. I hope everybody else has done their share, but
Great sandwiches,
Yeah.
and you got the yogurt, the froyo.
at first I wasn't
Yeah.
sure about
Just
it.
opened up.
It sounded like it was just gonna be a cheese sandwich place, and I'm going, that doesn't, okay.
I had
But
a
it's
bunch
more
of
than
cheese
that,
sandwiches
and
as
it is
kids.
good, so.
And
Yeah.
the best thing about it is, it takes them a little while to make your sandwich, so you eat your froyo first.
That's easier than that. I just send Paul to go get stuff.
That's right.
It's also for healthy people that have diabetics. The yogurt is. I know that for a fact.
Okay,
So it's healthy.
that's it?
I move that we adjourn.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okey-doke.
Chuck's smiling on us.
Yes.